Okay, now let's get to 95% chance. Like, we are very confident that these teams with a win out would go. Let's start with number 16, Georgia Tech. They would be 11-1, and they would have just beat Georgia. So even in a scenario that they don't go to the ACC championship game, there's a really good chance with a win over Georgia that they would be considered, I mean, right up there as a bubble team. Again, 95% chance. They may not be in the ACC championship game, but even as an 11-1 coming off a win over Georgia, if they were to win all their games, I think they would go. It's hard to see a scenario where they wouldn't as an 11-1, so that's why we leave it in the 90-95% category. Next team that I think is a 90-95% would be SC, and it's for the reasons that I already mentioned when talking about the rest of their schedule. The rest of their schedule affords them an opportunity to have marquee, massive ranked wins right up there on their resume. They have Iowa this week. They still have to travel to Oregon, and they would be in a position where like 90-95%, I'm like, yes, they're probably in that scenario. I'm going to say the same thing about Michigan at 18. They'd be on a 6-game win streak, and they would have just beaten the number 1 team in the country, Ohio State. You can't keep that team out of the playoff. If you're trying to find the 12 best teams and there are at-large spots, in that scenario, you would have to include Michigan. 2 years removed from a national championship, having just beaten the number 1 team in the country on a 6-game winning streak. No, that team's not getting left out at 10-2. That's crazy. That Michigan, absolutely, maybe even more than 95%. This is a team that 99% controls their own fate. If they went out with Ohio State left on their schedule, Michigan's going to the playoff, and rightly so, and should. That's not even an argument. So, like, that one's a clear one. Number 22, Pitt, is also interesting. I think they're 90-95% in if they win out. Now, they don't have any quality wins right now, but look at the rest of their schedule. Okay, folks, they've got Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, and Miami to finish. You win those 3, again, not guaranteed that they would play for an ACC championship, but even at that point, they would be in line for a discussion to be an at-large team. Those would be massive wins. You'd be knocking Notre Dame out of there, who's above you. You'd be knocking Miami out of the way, who's above you. Those would be massive wins. Knocking Georgia Tech out, which would be above you. So you're just knocking down bowling pins, and in line, 90-95% chance Pitt would go if they were to win out. Then you get to the rest of the teams in the top 25 that I have not mentioned yet, and rightly so, because I really don't know. I don't know if there's a path, even if they win all their football games. Let me start with the team that I left out right away, which was Utah at 13. There's not enough. I think 13 is their ceiling right now. Even if BYU were to lose another game, they would only have 2 losses. Like, let's say BYU goes to the conference championship game, beats Cincinnati, and then loses to Tech again. Well, they still have more wins than Utah because they would be at that point, a 1-loss regular season, then 2-loss because of the conference championship game. They would be an 11-2. Utah would be 10-2 with a head-to-head win. There's a ceiling there. I just don't see the path for Utah unless everybody just starts losing multiple games. You know, if you get Texas losing multiple games and OU losing multiple games and BYU losing multiple games and Vandy getting knocked off and Miami loses to Pitt, but Georgia Tech beats Pitt, but Georgia beats Georgia Tech and Oregon beats SC and Ohio State beats Michigan, you know, like all of that has to happen now. So could that happen? Maybe, but I'm just not sure. So that's Utah sitting at 13. Even if they win out, I don't know. 14, Vandy, same situation. No wins against current top 25 teams. Their good wins are right now against LSU, South Carolina, and Missouri. They're all outside of the top 25. They're not going to be winning many resume battles. And let's be candid about the game against Texas. They got handled against Texas. Now, those that want to say like, oh, look at the scoreboard. All right, that's fine. And Pavia went off. No, he didn't. He had garbage time numbers. It's like a home run. It's like a 2-run home run down 8-4. Who cares? There's so many guys in the big leagues that have just garbage numbers. They don't have meaningful numbers. And Pavia's numbers against Texas were garbage numbers. Sorry, it's the truth. I don't know what to tell you. Like, is what it is. Good football team. I don't think they're winning arguments with those teams above them. So like Utah, they need a lot of chaos. Texas to lose a couple of times. OU to lose a couple of times. Miami to lose. Maybe Utah to they need a lot to go in their favor, which basically means if they win out, what they don't want to be in is a direct comparison with Texas. Even Texas at 9-3 is going to win an argument over a 10-2 Vanderbilt team. So that's an interesting one. Miami. Let's get to Miami. And there was a lot of discussion about Miami on the rankings release. They'd be right on the bubble. If they were to win out, good chance they don't go to the ACC championship game, even though there's a path for that, although it's wonky. It should tell you everything you need to know about the ACC that Miami right now is sitting in I think it's 6th or 7th position in the ACC, and yet they're the highest ranked team out of the ACC. Kind of wild in that respect. But if they were to win out, they would be right on the bubble. These are the standings in the ACC. You're seeing them on YouTube. Georgia Tech is up there at number 1. Virginia is number 2. Pitt's 3. SMU is 4. Duke, gross. They just lost to UConn. They're 5. And Louisville is 6. Louisville just lost to Cal. Gosh. I'm not great. It's not great. So then Miami. Let's see what if Miami wins out. Everybody then would just be sitting there thinking to yourself, who's the argument with? Is the argument with Notre Dame? And in that scenario, it gets interesting. And I am one, and I will continue to be this. And I vow to you, our listeners, that I will do this if this is the case. If it comes down to a discussion and a debate between Miami and Notre Dame, Miami should go to the playoff. I do not care what they have looked like. You have to honor a direct head-to-head matchup, or else what are we doing? What are we doing? You have to honor BYU's win over Utah. That being said, I know there's going to be a lot of people that are like, well, you have Georgia over Alabama in your rankings. Yeah, but I'm not the committee. And I don't have to decide on a last playoff spot. If we're talking about a last playoff spot where you're getting in or being left at home, and those two teams played, you have to honor the direct comparison game that was played. You just have to. So, Miami. What do we do with Miami? Miami's got a hope that Texas falls off. They've got a hope that Vandy gets beat by Tennessee. They've got a hope that they don't stumble because they've got to go to Pitt and play a cold weather road game in November. So there's no guarantee that they're even going to be in that position. But if they can get to a position where they're in direct comparison with Notre Dame, I even will pound the table for Miami. And rightly so. Like I said, I know I had Georgia over Alabama in my rankings this week. I'm trying not to be too hypocritical, but that is just like a ranking. I think one team right now is more flawed than another. Do I love that I ranked them that way? No, but it's different than inclusion into the playoff or being left home. That is a far different conversation and one that you would have to honor the head-to-head, at least in my estimation. Thank you for watching the Joel Klatt Show YouTube channel. And if you liked this clip, make sure to like it and subscribe to the channel, and you can stay up to date on all of my college football coverage.